Okay, so 3, 2, 1. We are live. We are live for yet another engaging session of EventFUL Bytes. And then, of course, the topic is as engaging and exciting as all my panelists today. So, the topic for today's discussion is how artificial becomes assisted intelligence when dealing with client engagement. So grab your tea, coffee, or whatever, water, whatever you prefer during this part of the day, and hold on for all the engaging insights which my panelists are going to share today. But before we are going to explore the hot topic of AI, a disclaimer before we start today's session. There is nothing artificial about today's session. I'm your real host, Shikha, head of marketing at Jio Platforms, and all my panelists are also real human beings, right? So, of course, the topic is artificial intelligence, but we all are real here, and definitely we are going to peel the strands of this particular subject. So moving on to today's discussion, I generally prefer to quote the research trends which either Gartner or Forrester presents during their various reports which they publish. So Gartner identifies three important ways AI can benefit customer service operations. So one is, of course, customer service and support leaders should use AI to offer insights or predictions, improve user experiences, and not last but not the least, optimize business process automations. I know all the marketers who are there in the audience, and then of course one of our panelists who is a seasoned marketer, they must be nodding their head that the automations, the processes, the integrations, that is one of the things which we really crave for. So let's move into our discussion. We'll first have a round of introduction from all our esteemed panelists, and then I'm going to drill deeper into the points which I just mentioned about. So let's go ahead with you, Sujit, first. Why don't you introduce yourself and, of course, the breakthrough work which is being done at iMocha and your passion for AI. I know I have to then give you a hint that okay, Sajid, we need to move to the next panelist because I'm sure the subject of AI is well discussed at iMocha. Did we lost Sujit? But that's okay. So probably we'll wait for him to come back. We'll move to Karthik. So Karthik is from Springworks, and I'm not going to say anything more about you, Karthik. So over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Karthik, founder and CEO of Springworks. We help companies with building a category-defining work culture. So one of the things which I personally done my master's from Carnegie Mellon in machine learning back in 2012, 2014. It's been a while. So right now, what we are doing around AI is helping companies in HRs answer employee queries around finance, IT, HR, things like when is the next leave, how do I apply for paternity leave, how do I get a new laptop, stuff like that, right? So almost like internal customer service. So that's my interest in kind of AI and what we are doing on a daily basis.
Thank you, Karthik. We are going to have a very interesting discussion when we talk about improving user experiences, right? So when I was talking about user, that doesn't only mean our external prospect or customer. Our internal customers are the glue which keeps the entire organization intact, right? And Springworks is doing you can say a lot of breakthrough work over there. So yeah, we'll have a lot of interesting discussion with you, Karthik. And now we have got Sujit back. Sujit, we were moving ahead with the introduction part, and I was sharing that with the audience that the kind of amazing work which is being done at iMocha, and we would really love to hear from you about you, a brief about your journey, and then how.
Hello, am I audible? So I'm Sujit. I'm co-founder and CTO at iMocha. So iMocha, we started in 2015, and the focus was on skills assessment for talent acquisition. From there, we got into talent management, and our entire world is focused on skills for our customers. So we help customers build a skill first organization. And when you build a skill first organization, there are different use cases which come up, right? I have a particular skill set as per my job, what I'm doing today. But are the skills really helpful for me for my next job role or for my future? Or is there a dynamic shift happening? And how can AI help me as an individual, as an employee, to tell me about my better career paths or the new career paths based on my current skills. And the same thing, if you take this data at a larger level, at a team level or a department level or organization level. So one of the customers, they were trying to transform themselves from a gasoline company to electric mobility. Now, when you have to transform organization, you need to transform people. But when you have to transform people, you need to transform their skills. And when you're doing this across 50,000 people, I think without AI, it's impossible, right? I would say it's impossible. It's very difficult, and they have a lot of biases. And that's where my interest started picking up in AI, on how we can build the skills AI for the entire world.
Yep. Thank you, Sujit. The skill part, and then of course the training and development. Of course, this is one of the holy grail as well, right? And then there is a lot of you can say the deep thinking, the analytics, the intelligence, and then how you're going to make sure the human element is not missed. That's the key, and then that's of course the beauty of the challenge, which is, I think, which gets presented to entrepreneurs like yourself. So, yeah, thank you, Sajid, and we are looking forward to gain valuable, your insights today. So, moving on to Varun, to you, you are, you can say, neck deep into data as well. So, yes, please introduce yourself and what are you up to with the two magical words AI?
Sure, sure. Thanks, Shikha. So we help startups with their product engineering efforts. This can happen in different modalities. It might be a pure play consulting thing, building products for them, or it might be helping them with their hiring efforts. For us, there are two layers to it. I think one layer is how can AI be used in product engineering in itself. So wherein how can you adopt it at different parts of the process, remove a lot of the operational jank work that is involved in building a product. And the second is, of course, our customers or our clients approaching us, talking to us about, hey, my business is about to be disrupted, or I want to adopt this thing, take advantage of this thing. How do I go about adopting this generative AI space? Has anything really changed in this space? This AI promise has been made to us for the last 10, 15 years. So wherein we need to really kind of help them stay ahead of the curve. So those are the two areas in which, lenses through which we are looking at AI.
Staying ahead of the curve. I think we all wish for that and crave for that. Okay, thank you, Varun. And moving on to Arvind, who is, you can say, building a very magnificent product at Factors.ai, and which is, I'm sure, all about, again, data and integrations. So, Arvind, over to you about your journey and what is Factors.ai all about.
Hey, hi everyone. So I'm Arvind, co-founder at Factors.ai. A bit about myself. I did my master's in AI from ISC, and back when support vector machines were the rage and neural networks were written off as old technology, that has completely flipped now. Post that, I worked in Google, did my first startup, and then which was acquired by Freshworks. And in Freshworks is a customer engagement, customer service company primarily, built software for that. And over there, I built products for chat and collaboration for customer service. Post that, we started Factors.ai. The primary idea behind Factors.ai was to make data more accessible and useful. So we started off by kind of combining all different for marketing and sales team, right? And we kind of narrowed down on marketing and sales team as we started in the journey. And So the thing is, we pull in data from different sources. We kind of stitch the data and kind of build a complete end-to-end customer journey, which we feel is very important to build any intelligent product, and to have context of why the customer is here, and what has he done before, what's the entire history. So the primary problem was data was fragmented. So we started off by fixing that, and then started giving automated insights on top of it, right? Instead of you asking one question and getting an answer for that, which most traditional analytics products do, we kind of mine through the data and figure out the right sequences and the right segments of users who might end up doing something, right? So we started with insights, and now we are kind of expanding that. Okay, now that we have the insights, what can we do about it, right? Like we are adding more and more data sources and using that to kind of come up with the right um, enable them to do the right things or the right actions at the right time, right, with the right messaging. So, and that's how the journey's been. Yeah, so that's pretty much about us.
Yep. Thank you, Arvind. And moving on to you, Anupam.
Hey, hi Shikha. Hi everybody. So I work as Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer at this company called New Street, which is focused on blockchain, right? So we have a blockchain-based middleware for the banks and financial services institutions, which is more around helping banks scale their businesses at a pace hitherto till now unknown. At of course, at a scenario wherein you have a lot of automation coming in and hence productivity gains, and all of this with trust at the core, right? But my story with AI and ML actually is before this organization. Well, we also have our own pieces of that, but we are not focused on that per se. I used to work with a company called Grey Matter for around 6 years, which was absolutely doing nothing but analytics, ML, and AI. And my key call out to that is working for a revenue management, dynamic pricing, ML based model for car parks and airports, right? So yeah, a lot of use cases which I was fortunate to be exposed to. So that goes in alignment with around 20 odd years in the industry and the software industry. So probably the oldest guy around here. So and yeah, all of that. Along with someone mentioned being a long while, 2012, 2014, done the masters. I did my masters, completed my masters from IIM way back in 2005. So I'm that old. So that's it. I've had my own tryst with ML and AI, more on the functional side. Not so much, of course, of a technocrat as my other panelists are, but of course from the business end, I've had wonderful opportunities to kind of make an influence on the customers.
Yep. Thank you, Anupam. Yep, I'm sure, including me and our audiences as well, there are a couple of things which you would have picked up while all our panelists were introducing themselves. So one is, of course, the word intelligence. Another one is, of course, the engineering. And third is how they would really like to make the outcomes improved and better ones what we had it before. So with these particular thoughts, Varun, I would really like to open up the panel discussion with you, talking about on the business processes, automations, Varun. So my question to you will be that when we talk about AI, right, how do you see AI? Do you believe that there is a lot of assisted thing which we were discussing before we started the discussion, or you feel that the artificial is really overrated when we talk about AI? And then how do you bring the AI into the business processes automation so that the customers with whom you are dealing with, the projects which you are handling, so that in the end, your customers or your clients, they are aiming for a better outcome? What is the kind of workflow which goes into your mind? We would really love to hear.
Sure. Thanks for the question, Shikha. So I think specifically with what ChatGPT or OpenAI has demonstrated in the last 6 to 8 months, I think most of the intelligent people I know, most of the very, very smart people I know, nobody is at this point saying that, hey, this is overhyped. Everybody is amazed every single day by what these tools are able to do. The question that I'm facing when I talk to some folks in the industry. So particularly, last week I was chatting with an individual who runs a 10,000 seater BPO based out of Noida, and he's typically, I would describe him as a progressive CEO. He immediately came to the point 5 minutes into the conversation, wherein he was like, "Where is the ROI?" Last year, he was raising funds from a private equity fund. The partner he was talking to did not ask him a single question about AI, and he himself asked him, "Hey, why are you not asking me anything about AI?" So the partner started laughing, saying that I've been around the world, I've never seen ROI. Now, the question I think we need to ask ourselves in 2023 is, what has changed in the last 6 years? Because 2017 is when the paper came out. So, which on basis which all of these LLM models are being built. So the question is, has something changed from 6 years ago till this point? Definitely, the technical feasibility of what these models can do is being demonstrated. So maybe what these can technically do has changed, but do we have financial feasibility as well? Because when I talk to practitioners in the space, what they tell me about is, hey, there are infrastructure problems. I cannot get, if I go to a AWS or a Google GCP or a Microsoft Azure, I cannot get the resources, the servers that I need to be able to train and build these models out. So that is, for example, in terms of the workflow question, part of your question, that is one of the things I think about. Is there feasibility on the financial side? And then further to that, what use cases, even when we talk about customer engagement, automation, what use cases are more prime for, being AI assisted or AI replaced versus a human, wherein there is ROI. And one of the things that has come up in the discussion is that with respect to customer engagement, maybe there are two categories of tasks. One is live action. So maybe it's a customer support agent being given prompts as they're talking to somebody that, hey, this is the upsell that you need to do, or this is, a new product that you can talk about, or this is a solution. And then there is something which happens async, wherein I need to evaluate the performance of these 10,000 employees that I have, or these 5,000 BPO, like customer support agents that I have. The first one is more expensive. If it's a real-time system, it will be more expensive. The second one might be more cost optimal in terms of being disrupted first, or using AI first. So the way I'm looking at it is definitely from a lens of, I feel the technical feasibility probably has definitely come in the last 6 years. NLP stands disrupted right now, the traditional NLP stuff over large language models, but the financial stability, the financial feasibility is something all of us are going to figure out over the next 6 to 18 months on where that promise is.
Yeah, thank you, Arun. Of course, when we talk about the financial feasibility, the ROI, these are the most oft-repeated and the most heard words in any of the C-suite discussions. I'll come back to you, Arun, on the key points which you just highlighted. But moving on to the discussion, Sujit, you and IMOCA, and then of course the kind of you can say the technology in which you are dealing with day in and day out. Of course, in the end, it involves humans, right? So when we talk about the customer service aspect, when we talk about the support it actually provides, it, how are you dealing with that particular aspect, both from an external point of view and from an internal point of view as well?
So, from an external point of view, if you see our customer and like if I put this as a assisted intelligence when dealing with client engagement, right? So our clients are employees of the organization; they are the HR teams, right? Now, when you are dealing with them, uh, somebody, especially if it is about a individual's career, right, or individual's future, people are not so open to go and talk to an counselor within an organization, right? What should be my future career path, career goals? What are the opportunities? Many a times, if you talk to the HR teams, they are also not very, I would say, they have a lot of information, they have a lot of knowledge, but when it's transforming into for the organization's vision or for the benefit of the employee, there are gaps, right? At this time, when you have something which is an intelligent, maybe an assistant, whom you can ask the right questions about your future career, or even rather than you asking the question, if somebody is intelligently guiding you based on your some skill sets, based on the work you did in the last 1 year, hey, what are the trends picking up in the market, and the way you are doing the work, this fits over here. If you do this things, maybe you can go a step above, right? And now the prompt engineering, if the person starts chatting with it, right, saying that, okay, I have this skills, and these are my future goals. Can you map this with the future goals of my organization? And if a mapping somebody does it, right, it, I would say, really helps the to assist an individual with the right alignment with the organization. It assists sometimes or many times to the learning and development teams, right? Because like Varun talked about ROI. Many a times this question is asked to the learning and development manager: where is the ROI of learning? You're spending millions of dollars into learning, and where is the ROI? Now, can you really prove the ROI that this learning impacted this person, its skill level improved, and he's able to do a better job, right? This much of a correlation, you cannot go and ask every person. Even if you have data, you cannot correlate. Now, there is, I think, AI comes into picture where this correlations can be built in, an outcome can be given. You did this learning, it impacted some thousand people, so many hours of learning, and the way they did the job in last 6 months before learning and 6 months after learning, there is an improvement, right? The improvement may be the kind of job they were doing got done on time. If they were into customer service, they got better ratings from the customer. So now you're correlating and saying, my training helped this people to perform better on the job, and because of our customer rate service department got a better rating. Now all these correlations, doing it humanly on Excel sheets or taking surveys, is very difficult, very time consuming. I think AI really helps over there, and especially for me, I would say I didn't do my graduation in AI and ML, right? So for me, it was always tough to get into a lot of things around technical things, especially on the infrastructure side, the Varun said. But with Azure OpenAI, so I consider the AI era before pre OpenAI, or maybe when Microsoft invested $10 billion into OpenAI, right? And when that entire OpenAI was made as a commodity or as an intelligence to a common man. Here we can say that common man are the tech companies, right? Which got a tremendous access to the LLM models, how to fine tune them in a very easy way. So that infrastructure was missing. In the last 6 months, we saw that infrastructure really gearing up to a next level. And with this, I would say a lot of things for our customer, we are able to solve it. I told you a couple of use cases. We have thought about like hundreds of use cases. And when we are talking to our customers, they really see that relevant. They said, oh, we have been doing this work. It's not we have been doing, but the accuracy is very less, right? So it's not that something is suddenly new for them. It's the same job which is going to get done with a better accuracy. So it's more of a assisted intelligence for them, right, to do their job better.
Yep. Thank you, Sajid. Yep. Okay, so moving on to you, Karthik. Before we delve into the points, would you like to introduce Albus first?
Sure, sure. So we've always had this, challenge around, for HR specifically is how they spend so much time in dealing with employee queries, right? Like, when is the next leave? How do I get a new laptop, right? How do I just got married, how do I add my wife to my insurance policy, right? All of this is, definitely documented in a knowledge base, in a handbook, in your HRMS system somewhere or the other, right? And then even more complex things, I'm I want to upload this bill for my LTA allowance. How do I do it? What are the rules and regulations around it, right? So things like this, and then they just take up so much of the HR, IT, finance time. So what we've kind of done is, and thanks to OpenAI again, right? LLMs and OpenAI has now made this possible in a cost-effective manner. I think AI was always there. It's just now it's cost-effective, where and the ROI, at least from this angle, is very clearly there, because you're replacing the HR's time, right? So you're not replacing the HR per se, but you're kind of making them more productive, taking away all the manual redundant work by answering these type of queries, being the first layer of defense for them, for HR, IT, finance managers, CXOs, and then have an escalation loop, because AI is not 100% accurate. It will, at times it will be wrong. It may give a misleading answer as well, so you need an option to escalate to a human, right? Which in this case would be the HR. So that's what Albus kind of does, works across in your communication platform, Chrome extensions, browser, whatever it is, right? And it takes in all the data from your existing tools, gives you workplace search, allows these type of queries to be answered. So we're seeing very good traction from, especially from companies of in India and US, where they're saying, okay, my time is very valuable. We are early stage, we are less than 100. We don't want to be spending our time answering queries across people. How do I use generative AI, LLMs, to kind of do this, right? And for a company to adopt this, it's not easy, because they have to do their custom data. They have to bring in all these escalation groups, have a feedback loop, upvoting, downvoting, all of that stuff, right? And that's where this type of thing kind of becomes very useful.
Thank you, Karthik, for introducing Albus to us. Any incident or funny thing which you would like to share with our audience on why is the naming as Albus?
Yeah, so I'm personally a big Harry Potter fan. So I've always been very, and it looks like something with my camera.
Yeah, we just lost your video, so probably if you wanna switch off and switch
I don't know
on
why
again.
it's showing the fan.
I think it must be the magic from the Harry Potter world. Yeah, you're back.
Okay, now it's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. Yeah, so I'm a big Harry Potter fan. A bunch of us, in the company are also fans, right? So we're like, okay, let's pick something from the Harry Potter world. So we've done a bunch of side projects. Everything is around the same. So we have Albus, we have Pensieve, we have Minerva, we have Marauder, we have a bunch of things, all kind of on the same concept. And yeah, funny stories. I think people are. Like there was today actually, there was a company in France, and I think a group of 6 people wanted to go out for lunch, right? And they're like, okay, Albus, tell me what we should order for lunch. What's on the menu, right? And like this is a use case that you never even thought about, right? So they gave, we're going to this restaurant, tell us what's on the menu, and this is a lunch place which kind of changes menu by the day, right? So, and they were like, okay, everyone decided what to order, and they were actually, it helped them collaborate, stuff like that, right? So lots of, people are coming with interesting use cases. There's a financial services firm, outsource CFO, basically. So they are like, these are all the rules, we have around categorizing expenses, right? This is someone bought a pizza, so this has to be a food. Someone booked a flight, this has to be travel. Someone got a new mouse, this is whatever equipment. So these type of things, everyone has this amount of knowledge in their emails and Slack and wherever, right? They just don't have a way of retrieving it. So yeah, we're just seeing new interesting use cases every day, something which we had not even thought of, right? I think that's the beauty of AI, right? It's at this place where it's not at human intelligence, but that's the goal, right? The use cases are not even clear, right? Every day people are discovering new things, right? And it's just, you sometimes have to kind of rethink how you're doing your daily job, and have to think, oh, can I use AI for this? Can I use AI for this? And I think 9 out of 10 times you'll actually be surprised that it will do the first step very well.
I think you rightly said, Karthik, over there, that there will not be a dearth of use cases with respect to AI. The more we are using this particular intelligence, the more use cases are going to be exposed. And To be honest, sometimes when I think, I would not have any kind of a wish list that, okay, for this particular use case, I would really like to utilize AI. Because all the previous one, whatever past knowledge we had or whatever challenges which we had in the past, so for at least for that data mining, we are doing that, and we are making sure that how fast we can do our job better, or probably how fast we can respond to our customers. And then and again, how fast we can do prospecting as well, right, Arvind? So, of course, we talked about our internal customers, we talked about our external customers. We would like to hear from you, Arvind, because like me, most of our other marketers, and then, of course, when we talk about ROI, that what is a pipeline? How we are making sure that our pipeline is getting bigger day by day with an amazing amount of conversion. I don't even want to have kind of benchmarks, but yes, talking about the prospect engagement. What are the things which you and your team is doing, and what are the insights you would like to share with us and our audience?
Sure. So in case of let's say customer engagement or prospect engagement, where you are trying to kind of proactively reach out to customers or prospects and kind of keep them engaged, I think the Gen AI is interesting, but that's not the only thing that'll come into picture, right? The first thing is, do you have all the data that you need in the right place, right? So you have to build your own intelligence layer in terms of getting the data right, and then having a clear idea of what are the things, what is the history of the customer, right? Like what are the things they have done, what kind of customer he is, what kind of company, like if you're doing B2B, and which area, which location, and how have they been engaged with us in the past, and how do we engage further, right? So all that intelligence needs to be in place first, the data and the intelligence, and then on top of it, now what you have to understand is basically, okay, what is the customer most likely to do next, right? Like, are they going away, are they dropping off, or is their engagement increasing or decreasing, right? And based on what's the most likely thing that they'll do next, or what's the probability of them doing a certain task in the future, you can actually decide on whether to engage it, whether to start the engagement or not start the engagement, right? And once let's say you take a decision saying, okay, now is the right time to engage with this prospect, then that's when probably some of the Gen AI things could help us, right? Wherein you could either craft a good email, or you could craft like a business automation workflow, which will work in their favor, or kind of get rid of some of the obstacles, right? There are a lot of use cases that can pan out of that. But even when you're doing those things, it has to be contextual, right? Even if you were to use a Gen AI kind of solution to craft an email or do a marketing copy or something like that, it has to be contextual. It has to be personalized, and then be sent. And it can't be sent immediately. Probably there needs to be a layer of actually some kind of a proofreading or something that needs to be in place before you can actually get to the end customer. So the entire engine of getting the data together, predicting the next action, and figuring out who to reach out to, and then doing the actioning is what we are looking at in terms of building, helping marketers build a pipeline.
Okay, thank you, Arvind, for that. And yeah, I'll be moving on to Anupam. And once we hear Anupam's experience with the use cases, Arvind, I've got a very interesting question from the audience for you. So I'll come back to you after we finish our discussion with Anupam. So Anupam, yes, you are from the, you can say, the other side. I would not say minus the technology, but yeah, we are from the marketing space, the marketing technology, and then how we are making sure that we have a full pipeline, amazing conversions, everyone is engaged. We have this in quote utopian world, right? For which we all are chasing towards. Yeah. So especially me, and then of course our audience, and definitely all our founders, CTOs, they would really like to hear the use cases which you had experienced with this amazing word.
Yeah, thanks, Shikha. I think some of the other panelists mentioned, right? AI it's like what they hinted, probably it's a dream world of possibilities, right? There's no end to it. And like you called out, I mean, a marketer's wish list could be infinite. To nail down his campaign, his or her campaign, you wish I knew at what point of the day and which day of the week I should send an email versus put a LinkedIn feed in front of Shikha to be able to sell to her, right? So there's no end to AI there. So marketers are constantly hungry for AI because, we wish, right? We just wish that we had all of it together to be able to nail the high quality pipeline which you referred to just now, right? Which really is a function of how deep you know the persona, right? The end persona. But to the topic of artificial becoming assisted, I was just thinking while all the panelists were speaking. So one of the things is, for example, you have a chatbot, right? So chatbot would give you, let's say, 80 to 90% of the answers for the in a customer support kind of a situation, let's say, right? But in the complicated cases where an AI bot may not yet be equipped to answer that, and you need human intervention, which is where I think assisted word becomes very relevant, because it's really an assistant which assists you 9 out of 10 times, but the 10th time, if you force it to assist yourself and serve the customer, you might end up irritating the customer, right? Because I'm an end user and I want an answer to a fairly complicated question, which the chatbot is making me go around in circles, right? So, so it is assisted intelligence because it hasn't yet come to a point where it could be 100% artificial, and hence it is important to be discretionary in terms of not spoiling the user experience. One of the points you had regarding the Gartner bit was on user experience, is to make sure that you're taking a balance of both, right? So that's for the external customer, right? Again, going back to the internal customer, a couple of us mentioned employees, right? So let's say if you do an attrition analysis, right, predictive, based on the current data of the employees you have, past data you had, and you figure out proactively that, hey, if I do XYZ things for a certain segment of employees whom I want to retain, they'll actually get retained, right? So you're giving personalized offering to your internal customers so that they have a better time at the organization. And if they were about to churn away, they don't churn away, right? If you flip it around, it goes to the classical customer churn with telecom businesses, right? Where you find out a customer likely to churn and give them a personalized package which retains them, right? So it's the same flipped over the other side of the coin for the internal customers. So yeah, those are the thoughts on my mind. To summarize, of course, marketers have a endless wish list. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Anupam. Of course, we had an amazing 40-minute of discussion, and valuing our the time of our panelists and then, of course, of our audience as well. I have got two questions before we wrap up today's session. The first question is for all the panelists that which is your favorite use case which you were able to solve with the help of the assisted intelligence? Would you like to go first, Sujit? That once it had happened, you were like, oh my God, wow, thank God I had AI to my rescue, and now I'm able to achieve better. Is there anything which was the wow factor for you?
So we were trying to create a skills proficiency level for all the different skills across the world. Let's say you can take a skill which is can be SAP FICO, okay, uh, and we wanted to see what is the skill level for that across different job roles in different industries, finance, pharmaceutical, consulting, and all, and across different regions, and come up with an industry benchmark. And we were able to do that with AI in uh, like less than 30% of the time and efforts we had thought will actually take. And that was a wow moment, right? Because it was not about one skill, because that helped us to save that 70% time across some other 5,000 skills which we are planning to do. So that's it was a wow moment.
Awesome. Okay. So moving on to you, Karthik. Of course, I know you have got Albus, but what was your wow factor?
Karthik, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah, outside of Albus, I would say, when I was just, we're planning a trip for my daughter's second birthday to Mysore, and I was using this chat GPT with web browsing. Give me all the kid 2-year-old friendly places where I can actually go and don't have to, walk a lot, and, it's not sunny and all of those. And yes, I can do that on Google, but I'll get a bunch of links and I'll have to click on each one of them, go inside, find the ticket price, find is there a buggy, and I have my parents also coming, so they don't want to walk a lot, things like that, right? Here, I just got a nice list. So it did the first level. It wasn't 100% accurate, but definitely saved me whatever 5, 10, 15 minutes, right? And obviously I looked impressive to the entire family as well. So it was nice to kind of get the job done.
I can understand your dilemma, Karthik. I have got 2 kids, so I'm sure the planning for a vacation wherein all the metrics and all the checklists is like it's finished to the I's and the T's, and then and of course keeping in mind your own interest area as well. Awesome.
Correct.
I loved it. Even I'm gonna try that. Okay, so moving on.
So I think I'll just follow Karthik's suit and share something from my personal life. I think it was I could have it respond like a character from a book or a movie, or I could talk like so. So this was a chat happening between friends, and I would just assume a role that I want to speak like Walter White from Breaking Bad, and this is how I would respond. So I was able to get those responses, so that's quite interesting and that is quite fun.
I'm sure. I think with this, we are going to have a lot of games whenever we are meeting up friends. A lot of innovative games which we can actually invent as well. Okay, thank you, Arun. What is your favorite, Anupam, apart from, of course, as you're talking about the conversions, the engagement, and reverting to our prospect and customers way below the tap time, right? No, probably just in seconds. So what was your wow factor? Yeah, you have unmuted yourself. Yeah. Anupam, can you hear us? Okay, no worries. I think we'll come back to you later. But Arvind, I have got a different question for you. You were mentioning that, yeah, you are audible now, Anupam. Yep. Okay. No worries, Anupam. Probably will come back to you once we finish off with Arvind. So, Arvind, as I was saying that I've got a different question for you. We'll come back to you, Anupam. Yeah. Yeah. So, Arvind, for you, you have studied AI, right? So, the question for the audience is that when you were doing the studies of this particular subject, and once you are doing that practically in your day-to-day job, or of course, at factors, so is it like poles apart, or is it some kind of amalgamation which you have seen with respect to the you can say the studies part and the practical aspects for that?
Okay, I think the one thing that has changed, right, probably over the past few years is that, like, when it comes to engineering, right, like you build something, you can give it as a library or an API, and others can build on top of that, right? And you have contracts, and you can kind of build on top of that, and hence it's pretty. It develops pretty rapidly, right? And then you could use someone else's past work to kind of build on top of it. The problem with the ROI with building AI internally has always been that you have to start from scratch every time. Like you have to build your own data set, you start from the scratch and then build something, and it works okay-ish, and then you're like, okay, this doesn't work. We have already spent so much money and so on. What has changed now is basically now you have models which have been where a lot of investment has gone in, but those models are available for you to build upon, right? and you can now do your customized training on top of that, with all the prior training has gone in, also can be incorporated, and that is kind of exciting in terms of the number of things you can build on top of it, and probably you can also publish things and do other things, right? So and then others can build on top of that, right? So I think so that change wherein you have something and you can build on top of that, and then you can build on top of that, is what will kind of build more and more complexity into the AI systems and bring more and more value as we go forward. So in terms of studies and things, I mean, if you're building like from the scratch, so whatever you've studied might be useful. But I think if you want to kind of build on top of what is already there, you need not go that deep. Also, you can actually understand the libraries and figure out how to work on top of it.
Okay, thank you, Arvind. So we got Anupam back. Anupam, are you able to switch on your video, and then we can hear your wow campaign before we wrap up today's session?
Shikha, am I audible now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes. But then we lost you again. Okay. No worries. Okay, so I think with the you can say the nature of the subject, right? The discussions are not going to end about this particular topic, and I'm really intrigued on the points which our panelists has mentioned. Whether it is talking about the financial feasibility, we are talking about the ROI, we are talking about the career paths, we are talking about the transformation. And when we are also talking about open AI being available as a commodity, or what you can say Springwork has done in the form of Albus back at their place. And then while Anupam was talking about the attrition analysis, which is again a very important aspect to be looked at. And then definitely hearing about the wow campaign factors which our panelists discovered during the course of this particular journey. I'm sure there will be many more, which is going to be useful to us as the people who are going to be the consumer of this particular technology. So let's carry on our discussions over LinkedIn as well. Please feel free to send a connection invite to all our panelists. I'm sure they will be more than happy to answer your queries, and then definitely there's going to be a part 2 of this particular subject because there is more to unravel for this particular subject. So yes, this event is brought to you by JioEvents, and this our today's discussion was conducted on JioEvents platform. Thank you to all our panelists once again, and thank you to our amazing audience. We'll see you in our upcoming session, which is going to be on CPaaS, the video API concept, which is going to happen on 16th of June. But we are going to have a much longer session in the month of July, wherein it's going to be all about the pipeline. I love that subject, and I'm sure everyone in the C-suite, they love that subject. So catch you in our upcoming sessions. Have a good day all. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, Shikha. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.